Welcome to the Write Your Own Story podcast. I'm your host, Betsy Leonidas, and the founder of the Write Your Own Story company. Girl, I can tell you right now, you are definitely enough. Here we value service, sisterhood, connection, laughter, and that super genuine, keep it real, tell you like it is honesty. My hope is at the end of each episode, you realize you can do whatever it is you dream about and that you are not alone with what you struggle with. I'm hoping that you are snapping and clapping and hell yes in your way through each one of these episodes. So if this tracks with you, let's get started. I'm so glad you're here. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the latest episode of the Write Your Own Story podcast. I'm your host, Betsy Leonidas, and today I am here to talk about anxiety. This isn't going to be a long one. It's just me, but given everything that is happening in the world, today it is, God, I don't even know what today is. It's July 7th. This week, amongst everything that is happening in the political climate, which just no matter where you stand politically, anywhere in the States, in the globe, everything just feels so, I've had my head as far in the sand as I can as an ostrich, which I often feel like such a bad citizen about, but it just causes me so much confusion and anxiety. And it feels so out of my control that sometimes I just have to take my head out of the game. So that's really been my strategy for everything that encompasses. And then summer, I'm obsessed with summer. I love summer. I love not having to be places and things and overscheduled and all the things, but summer is chaos. So our heads are spinning, our houses are trashed, our kids are, everywhere doing everything. And then this week there was the horrible flooding in Texas. And then the absolute awful tragedies at Camp Mystic, which is, for those who also may have their head in the sand, which I fully support, is a girls' camp in Texas where many girls are still missing, if not some have been found and pronounced dead, which is just, as a parent, I was just thinking the other day, and I hate that I have to think this. I was just thinking how nice it is to not be in school and worry about things like active shooters when you drop your kids off at school. Because I'm not going to lie, I worry about that. I dropped my kid off, let's say we were going at each other in the morning because someone was running late and I was getting frustrated, or someone didn't do their thing that they said they were going to do, whatever. We're all human. This happens in our families, right? And you drop your kid off and you're like, that was not a good start to the day. And then I can't help but think, like, heaven forbid something happens at school. This is the last thing that I've done I've sent my kid into the day with. I would never be able to live with myself if something tragic happened. I was just thinking how nice it was to be able to take a break from those awful thoughts. And then this horrible tragedy at camp happens. I know so many people who have their kids at camp right now. I'm about to send my son off to camp for the rest of the summer. All that being said, I'm so sorry to be a downer. Usually this is a pretty uplifting show. My anxiety has gone from the usual, oh my God, I'm late to everything, which kind of feels like a bear is chasing me at all times, to it's really starting to feel big and it's starting to feel scary. Last night when I was going to bed, the thoughts were racing and they were getting bigger and heavier. And I used to have really, really horrible anxiety at night. I do not anymore. I don't get racing thoughts when I go to sleep. I can sleep through the night. I wake up pretty early, but that has been something that I've been able to heal, but it's kind of creeping back in. And so I just wanted to get on here and say, by no means am I an expert. The only thing I'm an expert at is having anxiety. And it all, everyone's got anxiety in different shapes and sizes. And so I don't mean to minimize this at all. I just am trying to think of, as one human with a platform, what can I do to help? And I was thinking maybe I could share some of the tips that I've learned along the way to help manage my anxiety, because as a mother, it is crippling right now. Not only is it anxiety, but it's deep pain for those families and everything they're going through. And sometimes for me, the trigger is when I know something bad can happen, then that kind of triggers it into a spiral. So last night, as I'm having, I was sick all last week. You can still hear it in my voice. I've been fighting off migraines all week. I'm like, what if they're a brain tumor? What if Hayden has a horrible natural disaster at camp and on the 14th is the last day I see him? Ethan has 2 bumps on his head right now that are pretty mysterious. I'm like, my God, what if they're brain tumors? All of these things are fear-based thoughts not based in fact, all of that. But now that, like, when you see tragedy after tragedy, you can't help but think, oh my God, these things can happen. But what I'm here to do is to share some of the tips that got me through last night, the tips that I use throughout the day, when I'm having a little bit of anxiety or when my anxiety starts to feel big and scary, because I can imagine there are a lot of moms out there right now who are feeling the big and scaries. And our anxiety is feeling bigger and scarier. And I thought, what can I do to help besides share the links to donate to anything we can do to help those in Texas? Absolutely. But how can I help share my experience with anxiety? Again, by no means am I an expert. Am I a doctor? Am I telling you what to do? I just wanted to share. One, I wanted to normalize all the feelings of anxiety and share what I do. If you're building your dream business and you know you need to build an email list, but the idea of picking and using an email platform totally overwhelms you, trust me, I get it. But I've got you, girl. Flowdesk is where it's at. Flowdesk is the email marketing platform designed with female entrepreneurs in mind. Think gorgeous, on-brand templates plus powerful workflows that save you hours. I promise you, I've never used an easier email platform with such stunning results. Whether you're sending an email launching a new offer or podcast episode, sharing new news, or trying out a fancy workflow to convert a new email subscriber into a paying customer, Flowdesk helps you show up professionally with ease without spending a ton of time or money. And not to mention, these emails are gorgeous. And because you're a Write Your Own Story podcast listener, you get an exclusive 50% off your first year of Flowdesk. Plus, they'll send you $19 cash back when you join using the link in the show notes. So if you're ready to send stunning emails that convert and actually enjoy the process, click the link in the show notes and give Flowdesk a try. That's 50% off your first year plus $19 back in your pocket. Check out Flowdesk today. It's like your super talented email writing best friend. I promise you won't regret it. Now, back to the episode. Okay, this is the most annoying one, but it is honestly the most useful one. It's to breathe. I know it is so annoying when we are freaking out, when people are like, just breathe. I hate saying it to my kids, but it is truly the thing that works. And as I'm lying there in bed and my head is doing the super spinnies, I slow my breath down, and I never get it perfectly right when the anxiety is getting really big, but even the effort in trying brings me from an 8 to a 6 to a 4 to finally I can like start doing some of my other practices. So a lot of people talk about box breathing. It's in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. I like to breathe in for 4, hold it, and then breathe out a slow 6. Do whatever it does for you. The other thing that I've learned with breathing is it really needs to be diaphragmatic breathing. So instead of filling your lungs, almost like filling a jar from the bottom to the top, you want to expand your lungs out wide. And focusing on that really also, and that movement to me, like, when we think about when we're anxious and we're starting to panic, we get that like shallow, short breath in the top of our chest. And when you have to think about diaphragmatic breathing, that brings your mind out of your thoughts and into your rib cage and into your belly and into all that great air that's filling in that space. And I'm telling you, it absolutely makes a difference. So I know it's so annoying when it's like, oh, just breathe. And you're like, I don't want to breathe. I'm freaking out. It serves a purpose. I'm sure that there's all sorts of science that I'm not even going to attempt to quote, but that's my first step. I breathe. Then I have this exercise that I'm obsessed with. I heard it from Ed Milet, who is like one of my favorite sort of mindset and business coaches to follow. But if you were thinking a really scary thought, like, what if I have a brain tumor? What if Hayden gets swept away at camp? What if I never see him again? You ask yourself, is it true? Some things that you might be freaking out about, like these migraines that I can't seem to kick after this virus, I guess like technically, yes, I could have a brain tumor. Is it true? Maybe. But is it 100% true? No. So that's a really important follow-up question. So you ask, 1, is it true? Then 2, is it 100% true? And then you ask yourself, what is the opposite of what I'm thinking? So for the brain tumor example, I can't believe I'm saying all these things out loud, but the opposite of my brain is healthy and strong. I'm just recovering from a virus. How do you feel? Then the last question is, how do I feel when I think about that last statement, that opposite statement for my anxiety? And that for me, completely neutralizes to like a pretty significant extent the anxiety that I'm struggling with. So for Hayden going to camp, is it true that he's going to be swept away? No. I mean, I guess technically, yes, it could happen. Is it 100% true? Absolutely not. What is the opposite of that? Hayden is going to be safe, happy, and healthy at camp and going to come home August 10th in one beautiful piece. How do I feel thinking about that? I feel so relieved. I feel happy. I feel peaceful. I feel joyful thinking about the amazing experience he's going to have. So I know that, as all of us are suffering with anxiety, those are my two tricks. Breathe and then ask yourself, is it true? Is it 100% true? What is the opposite of what I'm thinking? And how do I feel when I think that opposite thought? And I'm telling you, just that laying in bed at night was enough to unwind my brain, bring me back into that peaceful state, and let me eventually fall asleep. Also, if you need some white noise, if you want to listen to a meditation while you fall asleep, I also love a weighted eye mask, anything like that. But when you are in those moments of like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, those are my two things. I have also in my 20s suffered from panic attacks. That's definitely different than anxiety. A panic attack feels like you're dying and you're like, and then for me, I lost my aunt in like a very tragic, sudden way. And she was just the coolest, most special, most resilient person I knew. And I was 22 at the time, I think. And I didn't really have the tools to process it. And so then I started having these feelings that I couldn't breathe, like that I was choking, that my throat was closing. And I know it's embarrassing to say out loud, but it is true. I no longer suffer from panic attacks, but I know that feeling. I went to the hospital for it multiple times, etc. So if anyone is feeling panicky out there, again, I'm the farthest thing from an expert, but in all of my therapy work that I did in my early 20s to overcome that. I wanted to share some of that too, in case anyone is feeling panicky right now. One, you are not alone. There are a lot of people who are out there with panic attacks. I think it is one of those silent sufferer groups. Not many people raise their hand and say out loud that I've had panic attacks. So I want you to know that I'm rooting for you and that you are not alone and that you will be okay and that you are not dying. And I'm not saying that to gaslight you. I'm saying for someone who has been like rushed to the emergency room multiple times in my 20s in New York City, fully mortified, um, you're going to be okay. You can get through this. So, for panic attacks, again, I know it's when you're at that panic attack state, it's pretty borderline impossible to get yourself to breathe, but if you can focus on your belly and focus on your belly breathing, you're probably going to suck at it and that's okay. You're just trying not to like quote unquote die. And so I focus on my breathing. I focus on my belly. It's actually really helpful for my migraines too. I have peppermint oil that I keep on a keychain. And like I just have it in a few places around the house because whenever I start to get a headache, I like will put peppermint oil on that spot on my temple or whatever it might be. But if you sniff peppermint oil, it engages the sense and it pulls you out of that like awful, awful, awful spin. So if you have something, keep something in your purse or like maybe chew peppermint gum or something to engage your senses. Also, I had a therapist teach me that like, when you think about a panic attack, you feel like a volcano is like completely erupting inside of you, right? You are like, oh my God, everything's on fire. If you pinch your shoulder blades super, super, super hard, it's almost like you're imagining pinching off that like fire spark that's like running up and down your body. If you pinch it off and then you start working with your senses, you're like, what can I see? That's an easy one to start with. Name 3 things that put your feet on the ground if you can. Pinch your shoulders together, try and take a deep breath. I know this is a lot when you're panicking, and then start engaging your senses. If you need to smell some peppermint, do it, or smell anything. Think of something you can smell, think of something you can see, think of something you can taste, whatever the other senses are, you get me. And that honestly, if you can name 1 or 2 or 3 of those things and keep going around and around, looking for cues that you are safe, it makes a huge difference to engage your senses to deactivate your brain from that awful, awful, awful spiral. If you specifically, here's another really cool visual thing that would just kind of like engage a sense or a salivatory gland or something that would really help with my panic attack is you picture you are standing in the kitchen, you walk to the fridge, you pull a lemon out of the fridge. You can already start to smell and feel the lemon as you're pulling it out of the fridge. You put it on the cutting board, you grab your knife and oh my God, it's happening as I do it. And as you go to cut in your imagination, your glands start to salivate. And all of a sudden, as your glands start to salivate, you can taste the lemon, you can taste the sour. Again, it breaks that thought pattern that's happening in your brain in that panic moment. And you start to it just takes the notch down one or two. At least it does for me. And then for me specifically, when I felt like I couldn't breathe, I had this crazy story. I went into the hospital. They put the oxygen thingy on my finger. I was shaking so hard I flung it off, and I literally think I'm dying. I'm rushed to the front of the line in front of everyone. This is mortifying. I can't believe I'm sharing this story. And I had a nurse come behind the curtain, and he was like, I forget what he asked me. And I responded, and he looked at me, and I'm like, I'm dying. I'm literally dying. I can't breathe. I'm dying. And he was like, honey, if you can talk, you can breathe. And I was like, oh. And just right there, I was like, oh. So if you ever see me muttering to myself, maybe I'm having a panic attack. But when I start talking out loud, it's my cue to myself to remember that I can breathe. And most importantly, if you're having panic attacks, please don't suffer alone. Talk to somebody, get help. Hey, fellow boss babe, if you're craving less time on social because it feels like you're constantly in your comments and DMs trying to respond back to your potential customers, I totally get it. When I had my e-commerce business, I felt like I checked Instagram every 5 minutes. But what if there was a smarter, easier way to connect with your audience? Good news, there is. Let me introduce you to ManyChat, my go-to tool for automating messages on Instagram, Facebook, and even text. With ManyChat, you can set up automated conversations in minutes. No tech headaches, no coding required. Trust me, if I can figure it out, so can you. It's perfect for handling links to your offers, growing your list with DM keywords, and even booking clients literally while you sleep. It's efficient, super user-friendly, and honestly, it's like having a virtual assistant built right into your DMs. And the best part? Because you're a friend of the Write Your Own Story podcast, you can try it totally free for your first month. Just use the link in the show notes. Is there anything better than to test something for your business for an entire month with no cost attached? It's my favorite. So if you're ready to save time, respond faster, and turn followers into clients, tap the link in the show notes and give ManyChat a try for free. First month's on me. Grab the offer today and go enjoy a much needed break from your phone. You deserve it. I had to go through not a ton, but therapy for sure to absolutely stop these panic attacks. If you can learn about your triggers, if you can learn about your anxiety triggers or your panic triggers, just take note and make yourself a little bit more self-aware. So this short episode, I just know that we all have heavy, heavy, heavy hearts right now. And with heavy hearts, especially as mothers and especially as empathetic women, often can come deep levels of anxiety. So I just wanted to share some of my tips. I would love to hear what some of your tips are. We have to support each other through this. We have to say out loud the things that we are feeling. I feel heavy. I feel scared. And I feel overwhelmed. I also feel a lot of really positive things too. I'm not going to lie. I still feel hopeful and joyful, energized about other things in my life, but this stuff is brooding in the back of my mind, and it feels really heavy. So that is why I share. But my calls, to action for any of this kind of stuff is, if you're feeling anxiety and panic, please don't suffer alone. Talk to someone about it. Start with a trusted friend or family member. If you need professional help, it absolutely can help. There are so many apps and all sorts of things right now that you can sort of have at your fingertips versus waiting and, trying to figure out who while you're waiting to find a therapist, etc. If you are feeling overwhelmed by everything that is going on in the world, thoughts and prayers certainly don't bring back those children, but pray for the families and lean into your faith, and wrap your arms around them with your thoughts and your energy. We all certainly don't know the extent of suffering that they're experiencing right now. And if you do, I'm so sorry to hear that. But we have all suffered in our own ways, and we know what it is like to have people's thoughts and prayers wrapped around us and how truly healing it is. Donate if you can. I looked up all the different places that we can donate to. And listen, I know that it's like, of course, I'm like, just for example, right now, I'm like, okay, I'll pull up the links, and then it doesn't load. And then a kid is like, hey mom. And like, if you have the ability to, please go back and refresh your browser, go back and find the link and donate. For someone who has been very involved in fundraising in her life, sometimes you're like, American Red Cross, they must be so funded, or like, what is my few dollars going to do? I can assure you it makes a massive difference. So if you're looking for places to donate, if you have the ability to, Care County Flood Relief Fund, Careville Area Rebuilding and Recovery Fund, American Red Cross, Texar, Austin Pets Alive, Matthew 25 Ministries. I will link as many as I can find in the show notes. If you have other funds that you would like us to consider that you know are verified, please comment. We would love to be able to help in any way possible. And last but not least, if you feel yourself creeping with anxiety and you're feeling overwhelmed, do the little things you can to be gentle with yourself. You don't have to be the master of your to-do list right now. You don't have to be, an expert at all of the healthy eating that you're trying to do. You don't, just be gentle with yourself. Take the pressure off yourself a little bit. Try and go for the walk. Try and go to bed at a decent time. Try and make time to watch a funny movie with your family. Just take care of yourself. My thoughts and prayers are with Texas, and to all those families out there. My arms are wrapped around you. And to those who are feeling the anxiety, the panic, whatever it may be, you are not alone. You don't have to suffer alone. And hopefully these tips have helped just a little bit. So that's all I've got. We will get back to our regularly scheduled program, but I just wanted to share in hopes to help serve the community in any way that I could. All right, you guys, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Well, that's the end of this episode, but promise me, you won't stop here with whatever it is you're feeling or dreaming about. I hope you leave today feeling empowered to live life just as you see fit. If this podcast was helpful to you, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review on whatever platform you're listening on. I genuinely just want to help women live the life they dream about. So if this type of content tracks with you, subscribe to this podcast or visit our website, writeyourownsstory.co, to download digital courses or to grab a journal and a mug to just dream in and dream with. It's your life, lady. Do you. And just remember, I'm rooting for you and you've totally got this.